During a fight at the Eagle Fighting Championship, the former UFC champion Junior dos Santos suffered an injury that stopped everything. So what do we know about when he could be back fighting in MMA again? Plus, who is the latest UFC champion to take a shot at the organization underpaying its fighters? Stay tuned because all of that and more is coming right up. First up, junior to senior. Junior dos Santos hasn't had a win since 2019, and it looks like that dry spell is going to last a little longer. This year, he joined Eagle Fighting Championship after 12 years of being with the UFC, but things didn't get off to a great start. He lost his debut fight against Yorgan de Castro after dislocating his shoulder in the third round. Dos Santos said he was feeling incredibly well up until the injury when he was forced to stop. He had to undergo surgery, which puts him out of the sport for at least the rest of the year. The Brazilian won the UFC heavyweight title when he spectacularly knocked out Cain Velasquez in 2011. Even though he only managed to defend the belt once, Dos Santos earned himself a reputation as one of the most reared heavyweights. He took out the toughest of fighters, including Mirko Cro Cop, Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, Stipe Miocic, and Mark Hunt. That makes Dos Santos a legend in the MMA community, and his name still carries a lot of weight. It's certainly not the last we've seen of Dos Santos, but we might have to wait until 2023 for any more action. And if he wants to climb back into the UFC, he'll have to pull out some pretty impressive performances. At 38 years old, there can't be too long left for him either. Next, Eagle FC. Eagle FC is on the rise. It was founded by undefeated lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov in 2020 as an alternative to the UFC. Khabib took over the Guerrilla Fighting Championship for $1 million as a way to help up-and-coming fighters. He said that the UFC made him into a global star and secured his family financially for generations to come. But Khabib is not just interested in money. Otherwise, he would have accepted the $100 million offer to fight Floyd Mayweather. Instead, he said no, which he later revealed was because he made a promise to his mother that he wouldn't fight anymore. That's why Khabib is focusing on building his own promotion, and this desire to make a positive impact goes back a long way in his family. Khabib's father had a fighting gym with around 300 people in it, where half of them didn't pay a cent. Khabib said that if there was trouble at home or they were in a bad situation, then his father would let them train for free. That mentality obviously worked for Khabib, who had become one of the most successful MMA fighters of all time and arguably the GOAT. Since retiring, Khabib has been coaching UFC fighters Islam Makhachev, Tagin Ulanbekov, and Alan Nascimento, and he has been pushing for Makhachev to get a title shot against Charles Oliveira, but Dana White is ignoring his texts. Nurmagomedov wants to give the same opportunities to young fighters that he had with the UFC. Eagle FC gives a chance for Russian and Eastern European fighters to make a name for themselves in the US, and even former UFC champions like Rashad Evans have joined the promotion. Now, room for competition? Pay, pay, pay. It seems like an issue for the UFC that just won't go away. Dana White has been under some serious pressure from former and current UFC fighters who are demanding more for their hard work, and that pressure got a little heavier when former middleweight champion Luke Rockhold weighed in on the debate too. Rockhold is frustrated that fighters aren't getting paid more despite the company skyrocketing in value. He said, "The valuation of the company is going up billions of dollars, and we're still stuck on a $50,000 bonus check? What the F is this?" He is the latest big voice in the MMA community to criticize the payment structure of the UFC. Current heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou still hasn't arranged his next fight because he is waiting for a number that he considers fair. Ngannou has made clear that he's willing to leave for the boxing world in an exhibition fight against Tyson Fury when his contract runs out. For the UFC, a current champion being so critical of the organization is bad news. In response, Dana White has taken aim at the boxing community. Top boxers earn tens of millions of dollars, with Conor McGregor pocketing around $100 million for his fight against Floyd Mayweather. But for White, that's way too much money. He said in the past, all of those effing guys are overpaid, and he followed that up by explaining why that business model just doesn't work for the UFC. White said that if they were going to do a going out of business sale like boxing, then they could offer fighters that kind of money. But to keep an organization going that has more than 700 fighters on the payroll is much more difficult. Coming up, what date did Ariel Helwani give for Conor McGregor's return to the UFC? And what's his latest business venture that could keep him out for even longer? So don't go anywhere. Return of the King? Speaking of money, the UFC's highest paid athlete might be back in the octagon sooner than we think. Conor McGregor has posted a video on his Instagram that has fans excited about his return. McGregor hasn't won a fight since his 2020 bout against Cowboy Donald Cerrone. His most recent fight against Dustin Poirier was lost when the doctor called a stop to the fight. The notorious one broke his leg when he kicked Poirier at the end of the first round. He had to undergo surgery to fix the break, and the injury could put him out of MMA for a while. When he does come back, he'll have to make a decision about who he's going to face off against. Fighters like Charles Oliveira have called the Irishman out recently, and even featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski hasn't ruled out fighting against the former featherweight to solidify his status as the greatest of all time. The boss might have different ideas, though. Dana White has said that he could be interested in putting Conor against Michael Chandler, who just won a stunning knockout victory against against Tony Ferguson at UFC 274, but anyone to fight Conor will have to wait for nature to take its course first. Journalist Ariel Helwani said on a podcast that he has information implying that McGregor won't be returning to the octagon until early next year, but a video that Conor posted suggests that it might be even earlier. In the footage, the former two-division UFC champion is seen roundhouse kicking a bag with full force. That has caught the interest of many fight fans because back in May, McGregor said, "Once I can kick and grapple, I'll be back in no time." Now, the notorious businessman. At the end of the day, fighting is McGregor's profession. For his last fight against Dustin Poirier, he made at least $5 million, but that's nothing compared to the $100 million he made against Floyd. And where has all that money gone? Well, Conor has been pretty smart. He has invested in his alcohol brand, Proper No. 12 Irish Whiskey, which he sold last year for a reported sum of $600 million. And it seems that Conor won't stop until he is a tycoon. He just bought another pub in Dublin, adding to 2 others that he already owns. McGregor has promoted one of them, called the Black Forge, on Instagram heavily. He pumped more than $3 million into buying and restoring the venue. So if you want a chance to meet the Notorious, your best bet is to go and buy a drink at one of his establishments. But even if he is building an empire in the hospitality industry, his legacy in the UFC is slowly fading away. Despite still being a big draw for the UFC, 2 losses to Dustin Poirier in a row haven't helped his career. He is currently sitting at number 8 in the rankings and has a lot of work to do to climb back to the top. For McGregor, though, he has no plans to throw in the towel just yet. After the 2 biggest losses in his career to Floyd Mayweather and Khabib Nurmagomedov, many thought that he might call it a day after an iconic career that raised the bar for MMA worldwide. After his loss against Poirier, the Irishman said, "This is not over," but with such a poor recent record, it's hard to see who he deserves to fight next. Do you think that Conor could make a comeback in the UFC, or is it too late? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.